So guys, after doing the entire exercise, this is what your result would somewhat look like. So this is for a person trying to pursue something in a creative field. So first is fun to me but work to others. What makes me lose track of time? Where do I get greater returns than the average person, and what comes naturally to me? So for example, it's writing. Fun to me, writing is fun to me but work to others. Writing makes me lose track of time. Writing is where I get better results than the average person, and writing is what comes naturally to me. So all four green signals means you should go for it. Let's try another one. Researching. Researching is fun for me but work for others. Research makes me lose track of time. Research is not where I get better results than the average person, but research is something that comes naturally to me. So this gets 3 out of 4 green signals. So this is something you could think about. Now finally, let's take a look at an extreme example. Hey guys, so I just read this book known as Atomic Habit by James Clear, a really good book, and I suppose all of you guys should read it. But this video is not about habit building. In fact, I found another concept within that book that I personally found really fascinating. And frankly, I've seen that a lot of my fellow creators have not included that concept within their review of the book. So me being me, I've decided to talk about that particular concept throughout this entire video and also break down how you guys could use that concept in your life. So let's get started. So we all have this idea about hard work and success. I've always believed that these two things go hand in hand. More hard work you do, more successful you become. And for a long time, my view was that a person's success in life was primarily determined by the amount of hard work he or she put in. Please note that I said primarily. So, of course, there were other factors in the equation as well, but for me, those factors were secondary. And this worldview of mine was backed by experience. So, growing up, I was successful in almost everything I put my hands into. But then, I grew up and had to face the real world, and that's when I realized hard work was just one of the components that not just led to success but also to a fulfilling life. Now, before we move on, let me address the fact that the word success is subjective. So, what means success to you might mean failure to me, and vice versa. So, for argument's sake, let's just say success here means getting to the top of the field you are currently working in. Now, guys, I know this might sound philosophical, and you are probably wondering what does all of this have to do with the book Atomic Habits? Well, I promise this will all make sense. Just trust me, guys. So, let me explain. Humans are inherently lazy, but when it comes to our work or our job, we all work hard. Most teachers work hard. Most students work hard. Most workers work hard. Most artists, you get the point. But if you analyze things more deeply, you will notice that while the majority of people work hard, there are always small number of people who become successful very fast or climb the ladder faster than others. So, why is that? Why do some people become more successful than others despite putting in equal amount of hard work, or in some cases even less hard work than their peers? Well, there are two main reasons for that: identification and selection. Let me elaborate. Identification. So, the idea of identification is pretty simple. We're all good at some things and bad at other things. Now, if you are an ordinary person like me, chances are you are good at few things and average to bad at most things. So, the logical approach would be to pursue the things you are good at. but it's easier said than done because a lot of people in this world are at the wrong field where odds are not in their favor. And the reason for that is they have not actually taken the time to sit and evaluate the fields that are best suited to their strengths. See, that's the main problem. They have not identified the field where they would thrive and reach peak performance. Now, I'll give you an example, but first let me talk about selection. Selection is next step after identification. I know in my own life a lot of people who are clearly very good at a particular activity, but despite knowing that fact they choose to do something else. So they have identified their core strengths but have not selected those strengths, and I'll tell you why. Well, I don't know for sure, but in most cases what I've seen is that these people try to fit into the societal standards of what they should be doing, or in other cases they just don't trust themselves. So the problem here is not of identification but of selection. They just don't want to take the leap of faith. Okay, example time. I'm sure you've heard about this man right here. His name is Lionel Messi, and for a lot of people, he is arguably the best football player in the world of all time. He's regarded as the GOAT. But let me tell you a strange fact about this player. His height is only 5 feet and 7 inches. Now that's even shorter than me, but he is regarded as the best football player in the world, and for a good reason. Now imagine if the same player, Lionel Messi, was playing the sport of basketball, where the average height of a player is around 6 feet or something. Do you think he would be the same world-class best of the all-time player if he was playing basketball with the height of 5 feet and 7 inches? Just think about it. I know there are a lot of optimistic people in the comments who are going to say that,
yeah, with hard work, he would be the best. He could do it. Messi is always the best, regardless of the sport.
Now I get your sentiment, I really do, but think about it. No matter how much hard work he puts into that sport, at some point his cap of success is going to be limited, because at the end of the day, if a player is taller than him, he's obviously going to have a greater physical advantage over Messi. So that would be a problem for him. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is that Lionel Messi, with height of 5 feet and 7 inches, ultimately would not be the greatest player of all time that he is in the sport of football. And the reason for that is basketball is not the field which is best suited to Messi's strength. It is not. So the best thing that has happened to this player is that he has chosen the right field, considering his strengths and considering his weaknesses as well. Having a short height is a weakness if you are playing the sport of basketball. So instead of playing basketball, he is in the sport of football, where height still does matter, but not as much. My dog is barking. So this shows how much of a big difference the idea of identification and selection make in your life. So by all means, work hard, but before doing that, please take some time and evaluate if the odds are actually in your favor. And if you are someone who has already entered a field and is not finding the level of success that you deserve, please continue exploring on the side while doing your main thing. By no means I'm asking you to abandon what you are currently doing. You can still continue to explore while you are doing your main thing. So it all boils down to two things. If you are at a field where odds are in your favor, do more of it. Exploit. But if you have not found your area of expertise yet, explore. Fine. But the question arises, how? How do you identify the activities where odds are in your favor? Well, this is where the book Atomic Habits comes into the picture. In chapter 18 of Atomic Habits, James Clear explains how to find a game where the odds are in your favor. So James writes, learning to play a game where odds are in your favor is critical for maintaining motivation and feeling successful. In theory, you can enjoy almost anything. In practice, you are more likely to enjoy the things that come easily to you. Then he goes on to explain how successfully building a habit is connected with finding success in other areas of life as well. So, for habits, building a habit is easy if you select a habit that is best suited to your skill set. And how do you do that? Well, in the book, James says, how do you pick the right habit? The first step is something we covered in third law: make it easy. In many cases, when people pick the wrong habit, it simply means they picked a habit that was too difficult. When a habit is easy, you are more likely to be successful, and when you are successful, you are more likely to feel satisfied. So instead of random instead of randomly picking a habit, first analyze which habit is best suited to you, considering your strengths and weaknesses. Then he goes on to explain the exploit and explore trade off. Exploit. But if you have not found your area of expertise yet, explore. Now, the actual steps to find the games where odds are in your favor. So, for this, book states four questions or steps, and finding answer to these questions could take you one step closer to identifying the games where odds are in your favor. So, these four questions are: 1. What feels like fun to me but work to others? 2. What makes me lose track of time? 3. Where do I get greater returns than the average person? 4. What comes naturally to me? So, instead of reading what's given in the book, let me explain this portion with my own example. So guys, let me quickly explain what I'm trying to do over here. So on the right hand side, I have four columns which show the four questions that the book Atomic Habit asks us to answer for ourselves, and on the left hand corner I have all the options that a person could pursue after considering all of those questions and answering them for himself. So this is an example where the person is trying to do something in a creative field. So there are four questions on the right hand side, and then there are multiple options or career path that a person could choose, and then we'll be giving a green signal, tick, or a red signal, cross, and then deciding whether we are to pursue this or not. Of course guys, this is just a quick and fast example, so you could sit down and do this taking a lot of hours and then decide what you will be going for. So this is just a quick example, so let's look at how I've done. So guys, after doing the entire exercise, this is what your result would somewhat look like. So this is for a person trying to pursue something in a creative field. So first is fun to me but work to others. What makes me lose track of time? Where do I get greater returns than the average person, and what comes naturally to me? So for example, it's writing. Writing is fun to me but work to others. Writing makes me lose track of time. Writing is where I get better results than the average person, and writing is what comes naturally to me. So all four green signals means you should go for it. Let's try another one. Researching is fun for me but work for others. Research makes me lose track of time. Research is not where I get better results than the average person, but research is something that comes naturally to me. So this gets 3 out of 4 green signals. So this is something you could think about. Now finally, let's take a look at an extreme example: interviewing people. Not fun to me, does not make me lose track of time, is not something where I get better results than an average person, and does not come naturally to me. So this interviewing people is 4 red signals for me. So I should probably not be going into a field where I'll have to be interviewing a lot of people, because I'm an introverted person. That's a pretty simple thing. So this is what your results could look like. So what did we learn from this exercise? Well, two things. First, this is time consuming. Second, this is difficult. Time consuming. First, you need to identify the main broad field that you like. Second, you need to narrow it down to some specific area. Then you've got to see if you are actually good at a field that you find interesting. Then you need to put in the hours to improve on skills that you lack. And finally, you need to build a voice and gain experience. So, as you can imagine, all of these things can take a lot of time. Difficult. First, you need to build up the courage to actually pursue what you want. Then, develop the power to ignore what people say. Then comes the hurdle of choosing between the projects that make you more money and the ones that you enjoy doing more. So, all of these things are difficult and require a lot of courage. But it ultimately comes down to this question: is all of this even worth it? Well, it's for you to decide.